Education. Definitions and meaning of education. The concept of education is more important than teaching because education encompasses the broader goals of what we want to achieve with learning, while teaching is focused on the specific methods and techniques used to deliver instructions. So, we are starting our discussion with education. Education is the methodical and deliberate process of acquiring knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits through teaching, training, or research. The scope of education covers the transfer of knowledge across generations and the transformative impact of education on individuals and society to produce responsible and progressive citizens. This covers their intellectual, social, and personal growth through self actualization. The mission of education also encompasses the promotion of equity, cultural preservation, fostering a more inclusive and interconnected society, environmental awareness, and economic empowerment. Education takes place formally through schools, colleges, and universities, as well as informally through real world exposure and self directed study. Thus, education is a complex and multifaceted concept. The different definitions of education have been given as under Sri Rabindranath Tagore. The aim of education is self realization. It means the realization of universal soul in oneself. It is a process which cannot be realized without education. The synthesizes He synthesizes the ancient Vedantic. Swami Vivekananda. Education is the manifestation of perfection already in the man. John Dewey. Education is preparation for life. Education is it, life itself. Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Malcolm Forbes. Education's purpose is to replace an empty mind with an open one. Albert Einstein said, education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Aristotle said, education is the best provision for old age. Thus, education is about facing challenges and opportunities throughout the lives. Education is also creation of a sound mind in a sound body. Maria Montessori also said, education is a natural process carried out by the child and is not acquired by listening to words but by experiences in the environment. Benjamin Franklin, described as an investment in knowledge, pays the best interest. B.F. Skinner said, education is what survives when what has been learned has been forgotten. Plato said, education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. Horace Mann also said about education that education, then, beyond all other devices of human origin, is the great equalizer of the condition of men, the balance wheel of the social machinery. Education philosophy. According to Willie Durant, science gives us knowledge, but philosophy gives us wisdom. Thus, philosophy helps us to develop our values and to make wise decisions. Ancient Bharatiya system was assumed to be focused more Gurukul, Guru Shiksha culture, rote memorization, academic rigor, and discipline. We produce the best way of life and architecture. The Western education system seems to be more flexible and develops problem solving skills. In this unit, we will focus more on Western system and in the 10th unit on Indian education system as per the follow of syllabus. Philosophy is a very vast subject and education is closely linked with it. All aspects of education, such as aims, objectives, curriculum, teaching methods, teacher textbooks, and discipline, are influenced by philosophy. The educational process has three types of questions: why decided by philosophy, how decided by psychology, what is decided by the social needs. Hence, the education is based on philosophical, psychological, and social aspects. As per Western philosophy, Socrates is considered to be the father of education. Plato was a student of Socrates. Aristotle was a student of Plato. The philosophical study of following concepts is important. Sometimes questions can be directly asked for more times than can be in the form of assertion reason as well. Ancient education. This classical form of education flourished in ancient Greece and Rome, primarily from around 5th century BC to the early centuries CE. There were the most developed Vedic education, Jain and Buddhist in case of Bharat. The emphasis was on the study of classical texts, including literature, philosophy, and mathematics. They focused on developing more character and Vedic virtue. There was focus on the works of ancient philosophers, writers, and mathematicians such as Plato, Aristotle, Socrates. The liberal arts were divided into the following: trivium, like grammar, rhetoric, and logic; quadrivium, that is arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. Using the dialectical method, students debated and engaged in Socratic discourse to be better grasp subjects. Ancient Bharatiya education also focused on timeless and universal ideas and knowledge that included the Vedas, the Upanishads, and Puranas, and the Bhagavad Gita. Our system was liberal and holistic, that focused on the development of knowledge, wisdom, and ultimately well rounded life. The literature, philosophy, mathematics, and science were included in it. It used Socratic method of teaching that involves asking questions and leading students to discover the truth for themselves. Perennialism, form of education, early 20th century. Mortimer Adler and Robert Hutchins were the main proponents of this approach. There is focus on timeless and universal ideas and knowledge, classics of literature, philosophy, and mathematics. The emphasis was on liberal education and Socratic methods. It is assumed to be more rigid. The curriculum is prescribed. It is most focused on transmission of knowledge than being too much variable. Essentialism and existentialism, mid 20th century. The essentialism and existentialism can rather be assumed to be two contrasting viewpoints. Essentialism, this was propounded by William Bagley. According, they are essential, unchanging truths, knowledge, and values that should form the core of education. It believes in a structured, standardized curriculum that imparts these essential knowledge and skills to students. Reality is seen as objective and measurable. Existentialism, this was propounded by Jean-Paul Sartre. Accordingly, reality is subjective and experienced differently by each individual. It emphasizes personal experience, individual choice, and subjective understanding. Exist- Existentialists argue that knowledge is constructed through personal experiences and reflection. Naturalism, late 19th and early 20th century. Sri Rabindranath Tagore, the education which does not help the child to discover and manifest his own unique nature is not education at all. Frederick Froebel, learning must take place in nature and from nature. Jean Jacques Roger, Jean Jacques Roger, John Dewey are also the main proponents of naturalism. Roger's work, particularly his book Emile or on education, had a significant influence on the naturalistic philosophy of education. Naturalism in education means learning from nature and real experiences. It is like learning by doing things. This involves the following: nature and experiences are key. Learning comes from nature and real life experiences. Related to constructivism, this is about building your own understanding from experiences. Hands on activities, doing things like science experiments and nature walks help you learn. Asking questions and exploring. Teachers help you by making a place where you feel okay to ask questions and look into things you like. Learning from each other. You get to work with others and learn from them too. Real examples like visiting a water treatment plant to learn about the water cycle of studying how plants grow in different conditions. The Maria Montessori educational model has been shown to be effective in helping children to develop a wide range of skills, including academic skills, social skills, and emotional skills. Montessori students are often praised for their independence, creativity, and problem solving skills. Naturalism is linked closely with progressivism, progressivism and pragmatism. This is a student centered approach to education that emphasizes the importance of hands on learning and experiential activities. This is more linked with society. Children learn the best by doing, and that they should be given opportunities to explore their interests and develop their own knowledge. John Dewey, William Havard Kilpatrick, Jean Piaget are main proponents of progressivism. Pragmatism is linked with practically. Pragmatism is linked with practicality. It emphasizes the importance of practicality and problem solving. Pragmatists believe that the best way to learn is by doing and by applying knowledge to real world problems. They also believe that education should be relevant to students' lives and that it should be prepare them for success in the workplace. Theory of cognitivism, late 20th century, understanding how the human mind processes information and implications for effective teaching and learning. Cognitive load affects learning. Cognitivism provides students with opportunities to actively construct their own knowledge. Here, hands on activities and real world examples are used to illustrate the concepts. The students are provided opportunities to actively construct their own knowledge through mental processes of perception, memory, and problem solving. Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development has given the following terms in context of cognitive psychology schemes. This is basically mental framework or structure that individuals use to organize and make sense of information. Assimilation. Individuals incorporate new information or experiences into their existing mental structures or schemas. It involves fitting new information into pre existing cognitive frameworks. Accommodation. This refers to the process of modifying existing cognitive structures or schematic. Accommodation. This refers to the process of modifying existing cognitive structure or schemas to accommodate new information or experiences. It occurs when individuals encounter information that does not fit into their existing mental frameworks and they must adjust those frameworks to make sense of the new information. Equilibrium, equilibration. This is the process of achieving balance or equilibrium between assimilation and accommodation. This is seen as a driving force in cognitive development. Ecocentrism. This is the tendency for young children to view the world from their own perspective and have difficulty understanding the perspectives of others. Object performance. It is the understanding that objects continue to exist even when they are not visible. Conservation. Objects obtain some of their properties even while their appearance changes. Wbcs claimed that we are born with four elementary mental functions: attention, sensation, perception, and memory. Attention, sensation, perception, and memory. He has given the concept of zone of proximal development, ZPD or GPD, where learning occurs with the help of more knowledgeable individuals or peers. Scaffolding is a teaching method that is based on concept of the ZPD. It involves providing temporary supports and guidance to learners as they work on tasks that are slightly beyond with their current level of competence. Probing. This is asking questions. Think out aloud. This is actually verbaling the thoughts by learners as they walk through a problem or task. This helps to gain direct access to, to a person's thought processes and cognitive strategies. Constructivist school of thoughts, mid 20th century. Constructivism is a broader concept than cognitivism. Constructivism is a broader concept than cognitivism. Learners actively build their own knowledge and understanding through actively engagement, problem solving, and experiences. The progression from cognitivism to constructivism may not be linear but full of variations. Learning is an active process where students construct their understanding of the world through interaction with their environment and peers. Learning is personal and experiential. This is integration of new experiences with previous ones. Jean Piaget's 1896 to 1980 work focused on the stages of cognitive development and constructivism, while Lew Vygotsky 1896 to 1934 contributions centered on sociocultural theory and the roles of social interactions in learning that is called as social constructivism. Advanced Organizers Model AOM and Syntax. Asubel's AOM reflects the holistic approach to learning in the following processes: active engagement with material for in depth understanding, integrating new knowledge with existing mental frameworks for cohesive learning, enhancing understanding through social interactions, tailoring educational methods to individual learning styles, tailoring educational methods to individual learning styles. The mention of mental models as organized patterns such as visual representations highlights an important aspects of Ausubel's theory. Though same in essence, Ausubel's advanced organizers model has the three steps: introduction of the advanced organizer, a brief general overview of the topic that connects with students' existing knowledge, presentation of the learning material. This stage involves delivering the main content of the lesson. Reinforcement of cognitive organization. Here students reflect on their learning, linking new information with their prior knowledge for better understanding. Jerome Bruner's spiral curriculum. The students repeatedly encounter key ideas and skills throughout their education, and each time at a more complex level. This enables them to expand and deepen their understanding of a subject based on what they already know. Gandhian basic education, Vardha education system was founded on the belief that learning should be a process of self discovery and active participation rather than passive reception of information. This is actually linked with constructivism. Discovery learning. This is an educational approach where learners actively explore and experiment with concepts, principles, and problem solving tasks to construct their own understanding and knowledge. This entails active exploration and independence also. Social learning theory. Albert Bandura's theory was learning and behavior purposes that new behaviors can be acquired by observing and imitating others. Thus, people learn through observation, imitation, and modeling. We are also more likely to imitate behaviors that are rewarded and less likely to imitate behaviors that are punished. For example, a child learns to ride a bike by watching their parents ride bikes, and a student learns to solve math problems by watching their teacher solve math problems. This theory has been used to develop new teaching methods to treat phobias and other psychological disorders and promote positive social behavior. Behaviorism, early to mid 20th century, learning is simply defined as the modified behavior. Learning is a process of conditioning. It is the result of conditioned responses to external stimuli. The emphasis on behavioral, observable behaviors through the reinforcement and rewards. The contribution of behaviors, the theory proponents has been mentioned below. Ivan Pavlov's 1849-1936. Research on classical conditioning involved a natural stimulus like a bell with a reflex response like salivation in dogs. These demonstrated that animals and humans could form automatic involuntary responses to neural stimuli when those stimuli were consistently paired with significant events through associations. John B. Watson, 1878 to 1958, has also given the concept of classical conditioning, which involves learning associations between stimuli and responses. He conducted the famous Little Albert experiment that is about learning of phobias through classical conditioning. The contribution of B.F. Skinner, operant conditioning. This is also known as Skinner box. It is used to study animal behavior and operant conditioning in controlled environments. This emphasizes learning through the consequences of one's actions. He proposed that behaviors could be strengthened or weakened based on whether they are followed by reinforcement, positive or negative, or punishment. This theory has been applied in educational settings to shape and modify students' behavior. Program instruction. This involves breaking down learning materials into small sequenced steps. Learning processes. Learners progress through these steps at their own pace, receiving immediate feedback and reinforcement. Programmed instruction was one of the earliest forms of computer assisted learning and personalization learning. Teaching machine. Skinner also designed teaching machines, which are the mechanical devices that provided students with a way to answer questions or complete tasks with immediate feedback. These machines were intended to make learning more efficient and individualized. His book, Verbal Behavior, published in 1957, explored the behaviorist analysis of language and communication. He also gave the concept of radical behavior. Edward Lee Thorndike, 1874 to 1949. He was an American psychologist who made significant contributions to the field of psychology and education. He conducted extensive research on animal behavior, learning, and human intelligence. The three primary laws of he proposed: law of effect, law of readiness, law of exercise. Law of effect: behaviors followed by positive outcomes, that is, rewards, are more likely to be repeated, while behaviors followed by negative outcomes, that is, punishments, are less likely to be repeated. The law of effect underlies the concept of reinforcement in behaviorism. Law of readiness: learners are more prepared and motivated to learn when they are in a state of readiness or when they have natural biological readiness for a particular type of learning or behavior. Law of exercise: practice and repetition strengthen the association between a stimulus and a response, leading to increased efficiency and readiness in performing that behavior. Drilling and practice is an educational method that involves repetitive exercises or activities designed to reinforce learning and promote skill mastery. This is linked with mathematics, languages, science, computer programming, music, and arts, standardized test, skill training, etc. Humanism. The main proponents were Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers. The education should prioritize the development of the whole person, including emotional and psychological well being, self esteem, and self actualization. Maslow has given five sets of needs: psychological, physical, social, esteem, and self actualization. According to J. Krishnamurthy, the greatest revolution is not in changing the political system or the economic system, but in changing the human mind and heart. Critical pedagogy, mid 20th century. The main proponent was Paulo Freire. Education should empower students to critically analyze and challenge social injustice and inequalities, fostering critical thinking and social change. Connectivism, 21st century. The main proponent was George Siemens. As we understand that learning in the digital age is characterized by the connectedness of information and the ability to network with others, emphasis on the role of technology and network is in learning. Multicultural education in 20th century. These were propounded by Jean-Jacques Rousseau, John Dewey, Rabindranath Tagore. The main proponents were James A. Banks, Sonia Nito. This aims at promotion diversity, inclusivity, and the integration of multiple culture. Cultural perspectives into the curriculum and teaching practices. Gesell psychology. This is a philosophy of education that emphasizes the importance of holistic learning and the integration of knowledge. Gesell psychologists believe that people learn best when they are able to see the whole picture and to understand how the different parts of a problem or topic are interconnected. Synergy is not explicitly a part of Gesell psychology, but it is a related concept that is linked with a holistic learning. Synergy is the idea that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, like 2 plus 2 is equal 5. Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. Accordingly, there are 9 different types of intelligence: verbal, linguistic, logical, mathematical, visual, spatial, bodily, bodily kinesthetic, musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal, naturalistic, and existential. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence is the ability to solve, to use the body to express their ideas and feelings and to solve problems, such as people are often good at sports, dance, and other activities that require physical coordination. Experiential Learning Theory (ELT). This model by David Kolb is a comprehensive framework that describes learning as a process where experiences is transformed into knowledge. It involves a four-stage cycle starting with concrete experience, followed by reflective observation, then abstract conceptualization, and finally active experimentation. This theory emphasizes that effective learning is a continuous dynamic process of experiencing, reflecting, thinking, and acting. Elec- Eclecticism. While Covell's model is rooted in ELT, this eclecticism seems to be a broader and practical approach. This is a mixed bag approach. It takes the best from different educational traditions. It is a flexible and adaptable approach that can be tailored to the needs of individual students and groups. Eclectic educators believe that no one philosophy or approach can meet the needs of all students and contexts, so they draw from a variety of sources to create effective learning experiences. David Gull's model. We can take David Gull's model as an example of eclecticism. It drawn on ideas from a variety of different educational theories, including constructivism, behaviorism, and cognitive psychology. Concrete experience CE. This stage involves gaining new experiences. For instance, when someone becomes an assistant professor after passing the NET exam, they encounter new teaching experience in the college setting. Reflective observation RO. During this stage, learners reflect on their experiences to gain a deeper understanding. This may be termed as review. For an assistant professor, this might involve reviewing their teaching methods and assessing what effective or needs improvement. Abstract conceptualization AC. The learners develop a general understanding of their experiences and how they apply to other situations. An assistant professor regularly applies their teaching experiences to enhance their overall practice. Active experimentation AE. Learners test their understanding by trying new process. An assistant professor may involve by exploring new teaching methods and strategies. CE and AC, concrete experience and abstract conceptualization, are defined as two learning models, and RO means reflective observation and abstract active experimentation defined as two learning experiences. Thus, these four steps complete the outer part of the following diagram. Diverging DACA, DACA means diverging, assimilating, converging, accommodation. Diverging, these is the process of generating new ideas and possibilities. Assimilating, this is the process of taking in new information and ideas and understanding them. Converging, this is the process of using new information and ideas to solve problems or create new things. Accommodating, this is the process of adapting to new information and ideas and changing your existing beliefs and ideas as needed. FWT stands for feeling, watching, thinking, doing. Feeling, this is the process of experiencing emotions and sensations. Watching, this is the process of paying attention to what is happening around you. Thinking, this is the process of using your mind to process information and ideas. Doing, this is the process of taking action to putting your thoughts and ideas into practice. Benefits of Cole's model. This model is cylindrical, cyclical in nature. Uh, the learners have just some flexibility to enter at any stage. Cole's experiential learning model offers benefits such as enhanced learning outcomes, customized learning for preferences, and the promotion of critical thinking. Additionally, it encourages adaptability and innovation through the experiential learning. Role of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda's speeches at the World's Parliament of Religions in Chicago 1893 brought Indian spirituality and philosophy to the global stage. He was a disciple of the Indian mystic Sri Ramakrishna Paramhansa Belur Mutt was founded by Swami Vivekananda 1897. His ideas on education and spirituality received international recognition and influence. He emphasized on holistic and value-based education, the integration of science and spirituality, and the promotion of character development. His ideas continue to shape educational philosophies and institutions in India and around the world.